So, 5 years ago, I reviewed a little wrestling game called Rumble Roses. I actually recommend that you go back and check out that review, but if not, here's the highlights.
Guess who's back?
Konami! Friggin' mud wrestling matches!
The leader of the Road Warriors.
What?
Huh?
Yeah. I've played every single one. And then they had the gall to forget the sexy cat girl.
Real shame.
I don't know enough about sheep anatomy to subscribe to the YouTube channel, and World Warriors, fuck Rumble Roses. And, looking back on it, I think I was a little harsh. Shh. It's okay. I'm sorry too. But you have to understand, I was a completely different person back then, like. Just look at that boy. What do you think of it? Since 2013, I've come to appreciate dumb fanservice-y bullshit, and believe me, Rumble Roses is some dumb fanservice-y bullshit. And while I don't withdraw any of my previous criticisms either, I do feel like it's important to reiterate what made the game worth playing in the first place. While it doesn't play exactly the same, Rumble Roses is still built on the same engine as SmackDown Here Comes the Pain, a wrestling game that's frequently brought up when discussing the best wrestling games of all time. The vow system of giving yourself goals to complete in matches that ultimately impact your character's alignment to the point of transforming your character into a completely different gimmick with a whole new look, entrance, and moveset is, to this day, an incredibly unique and innovative system, and yeah, story mode. And sure, the stories themselves were fucking stupid and really poorly voice acted, but at least they were entertaining.
What? Cowgirl has teats more magnificent than my sheep. What'd you say about my... Shut your trap and fight.
I will never get tired of that cutscene. Fuck it, play it one more time.
Cowgirl has teats more magnificent than my sheep. Teats, magnificent teats.
Of course, if you remember how that review ended, I said, there's a sequel. But hopefully I won't have to worry about that until next year. And, a few years late, but, hey, what are you gonna do? Rumble Roses XX, initiate! Do the thing. Rumble Roses XX was released in March of 2006, just a year and a few months after the first game, and on a different console than the original game entirely. Not quite an Xbox 360 launch title, but close. Like I said earlier, over the years I've definitely grown to regard Rumble Roses in a slightly more positive light, so going into Rumble Roses XX, I was actually feeling pretty good about it. I was feeling very optimistic. That said though, there were definitely a certain number of realities that I had to be willing to accept. The short turnaround time between releases, the move to an entirely different and brand new gen console. I mean, I'm no stranger to roster update 20XX games, especially when it comes to wrestling. I was expecting the game to look just slightly better, maybe a couple new modes, new characters, new story mode, minor gameplay tweaks. I wasn't expecting the world from a year later Rumble Roses sequel. Boy, was I in for a hell rush of hurt. God, that move's not even humiliating. It's just mean. Let's just start with first impressions. I'll walk you through it. Fuck, Aisha, what the hell? So you go through introductions and loading, and you're treated with this screen here. New game or load game? Okay, awkward start to a wrestling game. Normally you just automatically load in whatever save data I might have, but whatever, 10-year-old game. So I start a new game, and then it drops me into character select, which, again, what? I didn't even choose what I'm actually doing yet. Why do I need to pick a character? So I figured, oh, okay, maybe they're just gonna immediately drop me into a tutorial to like show me how to play the game. So I pick my character, but then they just show me this map. Shit, like a shop, locales for me to compete in matches at, a place to view my unlockables, option menu, exhibitions, which I would have figured that's what my locations were, but that's a different thing entirely. Basically, the game just kind of drops you into like a career mode of sorts without telling you that you're in a career mode or even what career mode is. So career mode's basically just kind of the default mode of the game. You just kind of move around to all these various locales and compete in randomly generated matches. It actually took me like an hour and a half to even fucking realize this, because just like the UI of this game is just really messy. Other than a quick refresher on the controls, I really didn't need any help from the tutorial. Little did I know that I'd been getting help from the tutorial all along, because the tutorial is just a compiled list of the loading screen tips. Okay, fine, I guess. I mean, sure, in the actual tutorial menu they have these little video demonstrations, and they're mostly comprehensive.
Mostly.
But then you have tips like change in popularity and team chemistry, where the video demonstrations are just entrances. What does that even mean? How does watching entrances help me figure out how to increase or decrease my popularity depending on actions taken during the match? I get that the end result is a gimmick change, but the tutorial's supposed to teach me how. Especially since not every gimmick change in this game is determined by popularity. We'll get into that soon enough. Anyway, after taking the game for an initial spin for a couple hours, I shut it off to come back to another time. But when I tried to load up my save file the next day, Rumble Roses XX told me that I didn't have any save progress to load. And that's when I came to the grim discovery that this game needed to be manually saved. And that save option is buried in the locker room, then under the options, and then on the complete back end of your options in the option menu. That's where you'll find the ability to save your game. It was my first time playing Rumble Roses. So, yeah, I wasn't gonna go fucking around in like the options menu. I was just playing around with the different modes and characters and just looking at things. So, forgive me for not diving into the options menu. You know, it's just 2.5 hours of unlockables and progress and currency. Needless to say, my first impressions of Rumble Roses XX were not particularly great, but hey, you know, let's rewind a little bit. Character select. Hopefully you remember what the roster of the first Rumble Roses game looks like. And if not, that's okay. Because the roster is the same! They didn't add a single goddamn character to Rumble Roses XX. Not friggin' one! Okay, you know, it's... You know, technically, it's fine. It's fine. Technically, I guess to kind of make up for the fact that they didn't add in a single character, all of the characters on the roster did get more gimmicks. It's actually what made the original Rumble Roses pretty unique. Gimmick changes for characters. Each character's doubled up on gimmicks now. On top of having a face and heel character, they now have super face and super heel variants when you max out your popularity. Again, they all come with unique looks, entrances, and movesets. Reiko goes from being an MMA-inspired character to more of an idol-type character. Evil Rose goes from having a BDSM demon look to literally transforming into a lizard woman. And Miss Spencer goes from being a history teacher to...
Teacher! Mr. Spencer!
just a wrestler, I guess. Look, they can't all be exciting. Either way, though, super variants, those aren't the problem. Those are really easy to unlock. You just increase your popularity by winning matches. Super easy for super variants. No, it's the base gimmicks that are a real pain in the ass to unlock. So you remember that character select screen from earlier that we looked at? You'll notice they actually separate the heel and face gimmicks and essentially treat them as entirely separate characters. See, before you had the vow system to change your gimmick. Except there's no vow system in this game. There's no vow system in Rumble Roses XX. The one shining gem of your franchise, the one thing that really made it unique and stand out from literally all other wrestling games ever, and you got rid of it. You got rid of the vow system. Fucking kill me. So what do you do now to unlock characters? Career mode, basically. Except career mode doesn't have any basic rhyme or reason to it. It has no structure. It's just a series of locations with randomly generated matches. You unlock characters by meeting very specific conditions in this randomly generated world. And that list of conditions reads as follows. 1. You have to win at least 15 matches. Okay, easy enough. That does come with a bit of an asterisk next to it, though. You see, this game newly introduced multi-person matches. Triple threats, fatal four-ways, tag team, handicap. All very nice and welcome additions to the game that don't count towards your progress in career mode. You still gain money for winning, but winning these matches doesn't count towards your 15 required wins. Winning tag team matches will count towards your tag team progress, which unlock something else completely and have their own set of requirements for you to meet. Anyways, number 2, you have to beat all of the default characters at least once. Okay, that's only 9 characters, that's not too bad. Except, remember, career mode is randomly generated and doesn't keep track of your progress, so you better have some spreadsheets ready for which characters you fought and search out the ones you haven't and hope to friggin' God you meet them in a singles match. The last one's actually really simple. 3. Your 3 most recent matches have to all be wins. Then you're dropped into a championship match against the champion. Beat them, and then you have to win another match against the now former champion's alter ego. Win that match, and you finally unlock that character. I did maybe like 40 or 50 matches as Reiko, just bumbling my way through this career mode and playing in every single match they threw my way, because I figure, hey, they're giving me this match, this has to count as progress towards something, right? Until I finally resorted to looking up a guide online and finding out it's not the case. That's not the case at all. And you have to do this for pretty much every character if you want to unlock everybody. Taking that into account alongside other features in Rumble Roses XX, like gaining currency to spend in the shop on costumes to customize your characters, or poses for them in the photo shoot mode, or punishments for the new Queen's Rules match, which replaces mud wrestling, thankfully. Queen's Rule match is basically just a match, beachside. Except the loser of a Queen's Rule match has to endure some kind of silly punishment, like dancing, or being pushed in the pool, or acting like a cat and having to make this noise, or putting body lotion on the other woman, or if you're Miss Spencer, just appearing on the friggin' Versus screen. Look at her! Why's she gotta be like that? She looks dead inside, like she regrets every life choice she's ever made that's led her to this moment. Fucking kill me! Just a quick aside on the graphics, though. The original Rumble Roses might have been like a PlayStation 2 marvel, but the move to the 360? There's definitely an improvement to the character models, but again, just... They look almost mannequin-esque, and that becomes especially obvious when, like, you see characters with backup dancers. That wasn't a mistake in the script, by the way, either. There are multiple characters in Rumble Roses that have backup dancers. They all look terrible. But hey, take a good look at Superface Reiko's Super Monster Face. Girl does not know her MySpace angles. Fuck, I'm old. Anyways, the point that I'm trying to make here with Rumble Roses XX is... this game's a grind. This game's a fucking grind. You have to grind for currency. You have to grind for characters. You have to grind for customization. You have to grind for costumes. You have to grind for everything. I know I said they added a few new match types, and that's cool. That helps soften the fatigue of grinding, but when half of those new match types don't even contribute to your progress towards unlockables, you just find yourself skipping them. Why waste 5 minutes in a fatal 4-way that you might not even win because Candy Cane penned Menakage while you were stuck in one of these long-ass friggin' move animations? Fuck. Especially when you could just grind the fuck out in Street Fight where it's always one-on-one. Street Fight's actually kind of cool. They basically just kind of like strip down Rumble Roses enough and turn it into a fighting game. A bad fighting game, but hey, a fighting game. KO an opponent by beating them until they lose their health. Best 2 out of 3, they even change the UI so your meter and super counts at the bottom of the screen like most fighting games. Although it does introduce some goofy mechanics like juggling, which just look... well, you look.
Round 2, fight!
But yeah, no, grinding. Once I discovered that characters did not share most unlockables or money, I basically just started cheesing the game to get paid as quickly as possible. Turn down the difficulty, turn up the meter. What I'm about to show you now is basically the most reliably efficient way to just really grind out matches in this game using Miss Spencer.
Roses, on your marks, fight! What did you think of the special lesson? Stop it!
Atomic Drop City, bitch! stun-locking my opponents with non-stop infinite A drops and an H move to finish. I could end most matches inside of 45 seconds. I'm not proud of this, but the game left me no other choice. I mean, especially since there's no story mode, which I don't really have anything to say about that, because there's no story mode. I would have to be pretty stupid to complain about a lack of story mode in Rumble Rose's XX. And yet, without the context of a story mode, you miss a lot. Like, other than a tiny comment Reiko occasionally makes on the versus screen,
Please wake up, dear sister!
you wouldn't know her and Evil Rose are sisters, or that Anesthesia is the main villain of the series, or that Benekage, the ridiculous ninja with a giant frog, is basically an undercover cop, or that Rumble Roses itself is a tournament. And hey, we're missing Eigel and Dixie talking about sheep tits.
Magnificent teats!
Whatever. Again, I'm not here to defend the rich lore of the friggin' Rumble Roses franchise, but some kind of story or cutscenes would really go a long way towards softening this friggin' grind of a game. To wind things down, yeah, customization. What you do in the game, along with purchases from the shop, mean you can play dress up with all the characters and adjust various perimeters, like their bust or muscle mass, but the changes are so minimal it's not worth the focus. The costumes are painfully boring and few, and don't even compare to the outfits the characters are already wearing. Like, why strip away all the amazing costumes the characters have for, like, a plain schoolgirl outfit or a bikini? Even being able to unlock Metal Gear Solid costumes like that of Ava and Olga just aren't worth the grinding that you'd have to do. I spent far more time playing this game than I felt I needed to properly review, just to see if any of these unlockables or customization options were worth the time you'd need to put in, and they're not. For all the time I spent playing this game, I feel like I barely even scratched the surface. I even briefly played with the created character, but again, because the customization options are so few, what's the friggin' point? There you have it. Rumble Roses, XX. Final thoughts. Fucking kill me! No, seriously. Miss Spencer's dead-eyed face on the Player 2 side of the versus screen on Queen's Rules matches summarizes my feelings on Rumble Roses XX perfectly. I'd just gotten to the point where I was able to accept Rumble Roses as a pretty good game with a big dumb personality, only to see the sequel strip all the charm away. Stories and character development were shelved for bad customization and dress-up, while innovative mechanics and progression like the VOW system were replaced with a nothing career mode grindfest. Even new match types didn't help, because a majority of those matches don't actually contribute to your progress beyond currency. Once you realize what you're in for, the game becomes boring and repetitive, and you're just looking for shortcuts to unlocks, hoping those Metal Gear Solid costumes are worth it. And they're not. It's been over 10 years since this game came out, and there hasn't been a Rumble Roses since. For the best? Judging by this game? Yeah. Yeah, it's probably for the best. So, for CrowMn Manifesto, I'm Brian CrowMn, and